Gabe Velazquez here with you, Transparent Trading Solutions, on a Friday, the 19th of January, 2024. Welcome back, everybody. Again, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, put some commentary in there. So we, as expected, I've been talking about new highs, kind of almost a given, been writing about this. The question, obviously, now what? When you are this close to an all-time high, the algos just go after it, and we got a big bump above the highs here. Lots of stocks rallying hard. AMD, NVIDIA, all-time highs as well. Microsoft, Apple still kind of lagging. Look at 192 on Apple. Let's go get right into the charts. Again, subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to run a class coming up here. We had a really great class on earnings, which we're in DFS if you attend the class. TSM blew out as well. Next week, we've got Netflix. We got a whole slew of earnings. We got the biggest bellwether, I think. Obviously, Netflix is kind of a bellwether, but of the Mag 7, we've got Tesla coming out on Wednesday. So that's going to be the big one next week. That's been a huge laggard. Let's get right into the charts and check it out here. As we know, the only levels really to speak of, obviously the S&P is, once you break out to a new high, there's nothing to the left of the chart. We broke out clearly this morning after a little bit of a pullback. Rates kind of were rallying, rates were coming up, and then all of a sudden they eased up, and that just kind of set the way for the S&P to break out above the 4840 on the futures. Also all-time high on cash, SPX, SPY. Typically, again, historically, you may hang out here, maybe go a little bit higher, but if you go back historically, back in 2020, when we had our last high, which was right here. In fact, go back and check it out. Historically, what we'll do is we'll make a new high, may go a little bit higher, may hang out for a little while, and then what happens is you typically get a pretty sizable pullback. I think the last time we were here was back in, if you go back and check out the SPY here, last time we made a new high was back in December of came in January 2022 right here, and basically fell off. This is after a new high in the late part of 2021, after the big massive COVID rally as well. And if you go back again, like in this high here, we pulled back hard there. So typically, again, the market does pull back really after making new highs. All you got to do is just look back at the history. Here we took out the highs and then came back, but all-time highs are obviously very important. Long-term is bullish, but short-term is we should expect a pullback. A lot of these stocks are getting pretty extended. So on the rest of the indexes, the NASDAQ after making an all-time high here, if you recall, late December with the mega caps, this is the same thing. We made an all-time high and then had that hard pullback. Same thing, right? So remember, we made that all-time high on the NASDAQ. You got to look at the Qs here, all-time high, and then pull back. Now we're blasting through, and now this is obviously with the mega caps and all that. So we'll see what happens here. Do expect some kind of consolidation at least, and then another pullback to where it breaks out from. So there's a pretty sizable correction back to the reversion kind of thing. The one laggard big time, still the small caps. This is not even close. I mean, this is the high here from December, still lagging. So it's still a mixed bag. Bonds did rally here a little bit, so we're still having yields come up, but obviously the market is okay with it for now. How high rates have to go before it kind of derails the rally, still unknown. Dollar, similarly, just kind of churning around that level right here. We got Bank of Japan next week on Monday. We got ECB, Canada. So we got a lot of central banks. Noteworthy again, Nat Gas got rollover coming in on Nat Gas into the March contract, which is really interesting because it's going to have a massive gap lower to the March contract, which is actually trading at 225. So there's a big disconnect between the two contracts. Huge, huge backwardation going on here on the these contracts going forward. I mean, this thing is, the March is sitting at 225. The Feb, which is going to expire next week, is at 253. So there's a gap between the two charts of almost 35 cents, which is really interesting. This takes us down to 2 for the next level on nat gas. Oil still can't get out of its way. Basic range trading, nothing going on there. All the action again is in the stock market, right? So Apple, let's just go through that real quick here. Apple up against the resistance. This has been a laggard. 200 is the all-time high, not even close. However, Microsoft, of the mega caps, Microsoft, new highs. NVIDIA, we know that. NVIDIA, new highs. Clearly looks like 600 is the next mark on that. That's not a level, but just, that's where it tends to go. And then AMD. And all of this was set up by TSMC, Taiwan Semi, breaking out of this thing. We did a class and I mentioned this. That's the breakout. We had a massive rally in about 10 points. We're in DFS. This is actually quite the opposite. We are short here. We got some puts on that. And then also another, by contrast, this is what's going on underneath the surface. I mean, what's going on with Tesla. This is like, talk about a laggard. I mean, it's literally, it can't get off the floor, can't get off the mat, this thing, with earnings coming out next week. 200 is obviously the target, but literally the level it could go to is 186, if you see on that. So a lot of action in the underneath the surface. Energy stocks can't get off the mat either. It's all mega caps, so very narrow range, very narrow rally going on. So in any event, if you want to learn about what we're doing on the options front with a lot of these stocks, I just mentioned TSM, DFS. We got some bunch of earnings coming out next week, which you're going to be looking at. Contact me at support@transparenttrading.com, and we can go from there. Also, again, subscribe to the newsletter and so forth. We'll see what happens next week. We don't have any kind of the Fed meet is not until the end of the month. That's a week from this next Wednesday. We got core PCE on Friday, and we got a ton of earnings still. So that's still ongoing. So that's a lot of the opportunities. Oil, one of these days is going to break out. Nat gas, I think there's an opportunity coming up. Currencies possibly with Bank of Japan and ECB. So that's really what's going on. And then we'll see what how high the averages will go before they pull back. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Tuesday. Take care.